And we are live. Everybody, welcome to the 3+1 podcast. Tracy has wine in hand.
All right.
Water.
Party
Yeah,
time.
water. I have my unsweetened hot tea. It's some made up flavor. I think it says it's like peach passion. I don't even know what passion fruit is. Has anyone ever actually had a real passion fruit?
I haven't.
Probably not. I don't believe I have.
You know, if I can't get it off a tree in Mississippi, I don't want it.
There you go.
Now, this is going to be a really, I think, there's a whole lot to say. So I need everybody who's watching to get your fingers on your keyboards, on your phone, and you're ready to go because we're going to need your input and feedback because we have probably the most controversial slate of topics that we've had since we've started doing a live cast. Tracy, before we go into the live cast, let's get the pleasantries out of the way. How has your week been?
It's been great.
You've been busy.
I've been very busy. You know, I'm working with my theater company out in Chicago, Congo Square Theater Company. We are a Black theater company, and we just had a kind of like a fundraiser gala, and we got to meet up with the board and some of the ensemble members and talk about what we're going to do for 2021.
How much money you made?
Well, I don't know. We just had it.
Oh, so you haven't made no money? You had a fundraiser to make no money?
Well, I don't know how much we made. It wasn't a fundraiser per se. It was more of a gala meet and greet with the board. So
and it hadn't been shared. So, you know, while we're talking about fundraising, we need some money donated and given immediately to the one and the only Franchesca Lane Warren.
All right, Franchesca.
Francesca is here with us tonight. She is in a runoff election for school board in Fulton County District 4. Fran, tell us what area your runoff election encompasses.
It encompasses South Fulton, which is Westlake High School cluster, Langston Hughes cluster, and Creekside cluster. So I span from City of South Fulton to Chattahoochee Hills to Union City to Fairburn to Palmetto. It is a huge district.
So, you know, Fran, your peoples are on the show tonight. Your peoples are here. They're like,
all right.
They're ready to support
their girl. You go. They're ready.
That's right. You know, this is something that, you know, is a little, to me, that's interesting is that we have a lot, every school system has a school board. And that school board makes all of the major final decisions for that school system. So the superintendent proposes the policies, but the board has to approve it. So it's a very, very, very important role in our American society. But many educators work in school systems, but they don't sit on school boards. Franchesca, how many years of educational experience do you bring to the table?
19 total.
19 years total.
19 total.
Years from Memphis.
Yeah, I taught 7 years in Memphis, and then the rest in longer than Memphis. Maybe 8 or 9.
You don't have to divulge too much.
Okay, there you go.
I'm digging too far into our ages here, so we don't have to give away too much.
I'm 25. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm 25.
That's what I'm talking about. You started teaching that too. The benefit, Fran, that you're going to bring to a school board once you win this election will be monumental. I speak it. I know that it's going to happen, and I know that our viewers will help that. We definitely need you to donate to Franchesca Lane Warren's campaign. Fran, what can they Google to donate? Even if it's $5, I need you to give $25. But if you can give $5, it will help. Tell them how they can find you.
Go to www.electfranchesca.com. So
electfranchesca.com.
Yes.
Google Franchesca Warren school runoff. It'll come up. And this is the reason why we need you to donate to this campaign is that not only is Franchesca going to be an amazing member of the Fulton County School Board, but Franchesca, you know, ran the first election should have been March 13th. That gets pushed back to June the 9th. The fundraising, the efforts, the grassroots push that you brought to the campaign, you had planned to push out to March 13th. That became June 9th, but now it has to last until August the 11th.
August the 11th.
We need the funds to get this woman elected to help make a difference for children's lives in South Fulton. And from Memphis, in addition to this educator in Atlanta who taught in Memphis, we have a activist and leader from Memphis, the Reverend, the Minister Charles Albert Johnson. Welcome to the 3+1 podcast, my brother.
I'm truly honored to be with you. And, you know, you and I go way back to Mississippi State University. So
we go way. Tell them how we go back. How far we go. Tell the people.
Well, I was writing for the newspaper, and you were my editor. I think it was called The Reflector, I believe.
It was the one and the only, the Reflector.
Yes, and so, you know, Dr. Kirk has had a wonderful career, done many wonderful things, and he's an activist in his own right. And so I am honored to be with you on today. I'm a minister, have a little church here locally. I'm also an activist for Black issues. I'm a big proponent of reparations for the descendants of African slaves. I was also a voter registration coordinator for the NAACP. So big ups to my home state for getting rid of that banner of bigots off of the state flag. So I was so excited about that. Yeah, because we tried in 2001 and were unsuccessful, and so it's good to see that fight won. So, you know, one step at a time. You know, America's coming to grips with what needs to happen. Asheville, North Carolina just approved reparations for their Black residents, for example, and so maybe that could be a blueprint for reparations nationwide. So I'm just excited for what's going on in the area of Black activism right now.
So that takes us, Charles, Franchesca, and Tracy, to our very first issue of the day. And I want to know what you guys think about this Black activism. I am going to go ahead and mute my mic.
Uh-oh.
And I'm going to open the floor, you know, and just really, you know, just queuing up the background for everyone out there. This week, this interview that was supposedly recorded last year in 2019 was released on Nick Cannon's class. It's like his YouTube, his little network. And he interviewed Professor Griff of formerly of Public Enemy. Professor Griff was a part of Public Enemy until he started making a lot of very controversial statements and a whole lot of controversial claims, conspiracy theories, like he said Jewish people gave AIDS to people in South Africa. He made a lot of very controversial comments, shared a lot of very inappropriate conspiracy theories. And then Nick Cannon had him on his show, similar to how I'm having you, Fran, and you, Brother Charles, on the show.
Yes.
And they engaged in a full dialogue that was full of a type of rhetoric that I don't support and endorse. But I do want to open the floor and find out what you guys think. And I also want to know about what our viewers think, because many people in many of the things I have seen on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram has been in support of Nick Cannon. And I want to know why you feel that way or what you think before I say anything. I'm literally going to mute because I've been very vocal.
So I'm going to start. Nick Cannon.
We'll be making faces, Franchesca, but I won't be.
Uh-oh.
Her faces are legendary. So it's a couple of things. Number one, I'm wondering why so many people feel like Nick Cannon is so woke and that they would elicit not so much thought, but to think he's a thought leader. Just in my opinion, right? Second thing is that we're not in an oppression Olympics. We don't have to minimize anybody else's issues or what they've been through to make ours even better. Professor Griff, I mean, he hasn't been around since the 80s. I don't understand what was his relevance of bringing him to the show. And then what was Nick's relevance around? And I've listened to bits and pieces of it. I've read the transcript. And I think the conversation, if he was going to have that conversation, I think he should have brought someone Jewish on the show and say, how can we sit down together and discuss the issues within our communities? Because there have historically been issues with Jewish people and Black people, especially in some of our cities, New York City. So bringing that on, but I just don't feel like it's an oppression Olympics. Like, I just didn't understand the purpose, but it's just my thought, whatever.
Yeah. Well, he basically committed, I think, the unpardonable sin, at least in entertainment in Hollywood, of going after the Jews. that's a group that you just can't do that with. The Mel Gibson type conspiracy theories, Jews run the world, they're responsible for all of the wars and they finance both sides, and the Rothschilds, and you get into a lot of the tinfoil hat stuff, which I think is unfortunate. And this is one of the reasons why actually he was booted from Public Enemy. The guest, that's why they asked him to leave Public Enemy, because of the anti-Semitic stuff. But then when you get down to the bare bones of what Nick Cannon said, Europeans are not Semites. I mean, I don't even understand why that's a controversial thing. In my opinion, I know a lot of people will take issue with that, but Jesus was not white. The lineage of Jesus going back through the Old Testament, these were not white people, these were not European people. And so let's stop it with, of course, that white people are Semites. They're not. But at the same time, we can't, as Franchesca said, minimize anybody else's oppression. I just think it's weeds that are unnecessary to get into when you look at what it cost. And then we have to ask ourselves, and I know Nick Cannon's asking himself this, was it worth the cost? And I think that he came to the determination quickly within a 24-hour period that it was not worth the cost, because he went from actually coming out and demanding an apology himself from Viacom. He came out with demanding the rights to his brand, the rights to Wilding Out, insinuated that he would pursue this in court. And within 24 hours, he's got like 3 apologies up to the same group for the same thing. So like I was saying before we came on there, I want the transcript of that phone call. I want to know what was said to him to cause this dramatic 180 and his entire attitude. And he, social media was bummed out today. Black Twitter was bummed out today. They went to bat for Nick Cannon, and then for him to turn around and profusely apologize like on 3 separate occasions, I think that he hurt his audience really more than anybody else was hurt. But look, we got to get out of the weeds of the conspiracy theories and the Jews run the world. I mean, come on, look, those are weeds that we don't even need to traffic in as Black people. We don't even need to go there with the world banks and Jews run the media and Jews control the world economy and the Rothschilds. Can we stop it? Can we stop doing that? It's a question.
Well, I will say that I do agree that we are not in an oppression Olympics. However, we do need to recognize that our race of people are still being oppressed, while Jewish people have been able to pick themselves up due to reparations and apologies, and they have been able to develop stable communities of wealth. So while I do believe we cannot oppress another oppressed group of people, we do need to recognize that that other group of people has a one-up on us, and that is their white skin and their ability to be able to pass in our country. Period.
Yeah, I mean, that's, that type of white privilege. I totally agree, Tracy. It definitely applies. And when we look at, when you said that they picked themselves up, but you came behind that and said that, what they were able to develop, but they did get reparations. And I mean, reparations in the most major way possible. I mean, world powers literally carved them out a homeland out of Palestine and basically gave them a state within an already existing state. It doesn't get more reparations than that. And America had no connection to the Holocaust. We didn't do the Holocaust. The other Western powers that contributed to the founding of the state of Israel in 1948, they didn't do any Holocausting. You know, so you know, it was really unprecedented reparations, but yet the descendants of African slaves, we are still waiting for the unfulfilled legacy of the Abraham Lincoln administration. Ironically, the first Republican president. We're waiting on our 40 acres and a mule. We still have not gotten it, and it is still a debt that is owed, in my opinion.
It's a debt. I agree 100%. But at the same time, our Jewish brothers and sisters are not the enemy in this fight. They are also the victims of racism and white oppression in America in the same way that every other marginalized group is. And let me just give a very brief bit of history. So there was a beautiful article written in 1967 by James Baldwin, where he talked about the rise of anti-Semitic culture among Black people in New York. And what James Baldwin said was, there was a time at the beginning of the Civil Rights Movement where our Jewish brothers and sisters were the financiers and the supporters of the Civil Rights Movement. A lot of progress made by our civil rights leaders came from how they were financially backed by the Jewish community in New York particularly. But they made massive progress and made massive headway. However, white supremacists and racists saw this connection, they saw this unification, and they sought to divide it, because we are weaker when we are apart than we are stronger when we are together. And they saw that, and they used the issue of race to divide us further. And because, according to James Baldwin, Jewish people can pass for white, and they can be conveniently no longer a minority when they choose to be, that led to Black people having a lot of resentment and saying things and sowing seeds in their children that now live and exist and grow in people like this Griff character that you see right here. Personally, I feel as though we have to take and draw a firm line in the sand against racism and hate in all of its forms, period. And it doesn't matter who you are. When, Louis Farrakhan, who I still accuse of killing Malcolm X. So come at me, all of these people. Come on. Bring it on.
They're coming. Oh, yeah, they're coming for
you.
They can
come. Bring it on. Because the bottom line is, I listened to this man give his address. I heard hateful speech being spoken. It was eloquent. It was well stated. But under the veil of articulation was homophobia and racism. And it makes me sick. It is spreading conspiracy theories and lies at a very high level. And I pity the number of people in the Black community that follow behind this and believe into this, because it's going to lead you right off the cliff. You can avoid inoculating your children. Don't get the vaccines. Don't get the coronavirus vaccine when it comes. You can avoid all of that. You can believe that it's the white devil if you want to, and you and your family can suffer consequences. But for me and mine, we're going to get those vaccines. We're going to stay vaccinated, and we're going to stay healthy. I just don't tolerate it. I just cannot tolerate hate in any of its forms.
I see you're very passionate about this, Doc.
You know I'm passionate about everything.
Can we talk about this, though? We're talking, Nick Cannon is now begging for his job back to a franchise that he built that he didn't own. So when we talk about what people need to do, Nick Cannon is always the first person. Black people need to do this. So you didn't even own the platform that's yours?
Yeah, that's the hypocrisy behind that.
Listen, I don't want to talk about anybody. It is 2020. We have to get anything that is homophobic, that is transphobic, anything that marginalizes another group, and focus on building our own. And you start by building your own by owning what you have. Nick knows that. He knew that. So
I found it to be interesting that Diddy said out loud, "Hey, come
Diddy's problematic. He's problematic himself."
They're all in it together, Tracy. That's what I've been telling you.
I don't know, but
Charlemagne, the Gadfly, all these people are united in to suppress Black votes and to pull Black men away from the real work of uplifting the Black community. Sean Puffy Combs is as much a part of the problem as Nick Cannon and Charlemagne the Gadfly.
But as Tracy, I believe, was about to say, I believe what Tracy was about to say is that brother Sean Combs did invite Nick Cannon. Hey, come on over here. We're black owned. You will not get canceled for voicing that opinion. Come over here with me. Come over here with us. And I think that whether you agree with Sean Combs or Nick Cannon or anything, I think that the thing we need overall is we need black unity. And that's what I stress. That's why I, as a minister, was out here in Memphis with the Black Lives Matter march, and they asked for a minister. They wanted somebody to pray. There were no ministers out there. So I was waiting, and, you know, my wife was out there with me. I went ahead and stepped forward and went ahead and prayed the prayer. And what I prayed for was the unity for our common humanity to come together. Let's not let theology divide us. Let's not let sexual orientation divide us. Let's not let politics divide us. We are all black. And so George Floyd, which, you know, while we were protesting, could have been any one of we black people. So we have got to get together. And I think that regardless of how we feel about Nick Cannon or Sean Combs, the gesture, the overture, I think was in the right place in the sense of, hey, black people, let's unite. We don't have to all agree, but we all need to be united in our common humanity. Malcolm told us this in 1965. We're still not listening. My sound is gone. Can you hear me? Okay, there we go.
I was muted. Yeah.
Rewind it back.
So at the end of the day, we have to figure out where we can spend our most energy on. We can spend our energy on ownership, and we can spend our energy doing what we need to do in our communities. All this other foolishness, it's a distraction. And Nick Cannon, literally, you just graduated from Howard. You have good things going on. You brought somebody with this type on your show. Like, you didn't have any hindsight to say, this probably is not going to end well.
You're muted.
Unmute.
But that was last year, y'all. I don't think
he chose to air it.
I don't think it was smart to air it at this time at all. I don't think that was a smart move.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what the tactic was behind it. Maybe he thought this is a woke conversation. But we got to remember that he did it a year ago. So this wasn't the Nick Cannon that just recently graduated from Howard. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
He made that choice.
I don't know.
No, he made the choice.
My brother, because, you know, to be quite honest, when he stepped away from what was that show on that your favorite Terry Crews is on now?
I don't watch any of that. I don't watch any of that nonsense.
You know that is your favorite show, Zach. But that show and
it's America's Got Talent. I've never seen one episode.
Right, America's Got Talent.
But he started doing more activism, and when Nipsey died, he took on his documentary for Dr. Sebi. So I do think he was trying to do some things in the community to help awaken us, to help stir us in the right direction. I don't know what this decision was, Lord, why he did it to air this, but maybe he thought that voice was needed. Who knows? But I do not think
hate is needed. You can't think hate is needed.
No, I don't.
I mean, this is the thing. Like, again, and this is what worries me, is I think that the majority of black people who are defending him don't understand or see what he said as hateful and understand the dangerous nature of planting those types of seeds. We had a black man in 2019 break in and kill Jewish people under the name of hate in New York. This is a whole entire undercurrent that's being perpetuated by people like Louis Farrakhan. And it's dangerous. I want you to think about this for everybody and every viewer who is still defending and posting up positive things about Nick Cannon, which is your right, and I defend it. And I'm making a really hard effort to not even comment when I see things on Facebook, because I had some trolls come on me and I had to lock my profile. Uh-oh. Well, well, Charles knows this now. You know, I don't give up. I don't care. I will unfriend me. I will block you. I don't care if I have 2 followers. And Deborah Kirk, instead of her, my sister, because see, my other sister, Jerry. See, Jerry ain't gonna ride with me. She'll block me back. We done did that before in life already. If I just have Deborah and Todd, we good. The point of it is that you cannot underestimate the power of hate in America or the power of allyship. We are 13% of this country's population. We are under attack as a Black community like we have never been under attack before. The Trump administration is trying to portray us as and vilify us through the Black Lives Matter movement because he sees the power in the movement. He sees the rapid progress that we're getting. The Jewish nation of Israel was able to be founded because of the mass atrocities committed against him during the Holocaust and the national attempt at atonement. Right now, America is going through its first mini attempt at atonement for multiple decades of generational systemic oppression post-civil rights movement and the efforts of people like Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan to turn us back. So we're making, under the Trump administration, massive pushes forward because of our society. But yet and still, as soon as we start making progress, there's an anti-push. And a number of things that we are doing are an anti-push. And I dare say that there are people out there, and my conspiracy theory is people like Nick, the God, and Nick Cannon, who are being paid by Republicans and conservatives to further divide the Black community so that we do not unify with our allies in the Jewish community, the Latinx community, and any other numbers of other groups that are ready to fight with us to end systemic oppression, because there is power in them having us divided.
I think he made a mistake. He made a mistake by airing that. But he
deserves the consequences. But he never gets into the job for television.
No. With me being in the industry, I realized the power that he had in getting a lot of Black people hired. So I am not going to cancel a brother that was hiring a lot of Black people.
I'm not canceling any brothers, period. I'm canceling nobody Black. I don't care what they do. I don't care what they say. I disagree with some of the things Nick Cannon said. I disagree with a lot of things that Minister Farrakhan says. I'm canceling neither of them. What we need is Black unity. We need Black. It's just like Malcolm said. Malcolm said we have to unite together. And let me just drop this on you, because Malcolm for years denigrated other civil rights leaders. He called them hen-picked Uncle Tom, boot-licking Negroes. He talked bad about Dr. King. He talked bad about Medgar Evers. He talked bad about every civil rights leader. But after he left the Nation of Islam and he committed to Afro-American unity, he started that organization for Afro-American unity. And he came to the place where he said, look, I was wrong. He said, I was wrong for denigrating other civil rights leaders. I fell into the hands of the white oppressor who has made a power play of keeping us divided. And he says, I will no longer denigrate. He says, I apologize for all the public things and names that I've called them, and I hope that they apologize for the many private things that they've said about me. And he said, we have to get together.
That is key, because I think we should be allowed to make a mistake and grow from it. I think we should be allowed to say things that aren't necessarily right and learn from them. I don't want to cancel this man, like I said, because he has been integral in producing works for Black people.
Yes.
We cannot forget that. And so, Zach, you say a lot of stuff on here that I don't agree with. And that don't mean I'm canceling you. Because
Not at all.
You can. And so can everybody else who disagrees. But at the end of the day, Zachary Kirk is always going to be guided by his moral compass, which God put inside of him. And no matter how much I may want a Black man to succeed, I cannot co-sign my name to hate of any group. I just cannot do it.
But you don't have to co-sign on the hate, because I mean, Minister Farrakhan and I get a lot of flack from Christians. Because if I share a statement that he made or some speech that he said promoting Blackness and promoting Black people, Minister Farrakhan has a wealth of pro-Black information, pro-Black speech is very inspirational. And I don't think that we should separate ourselves from those things just because he has said some unfortunate hateful statements that we definitely disagree with. I don't co-sign on his theology at all. And I mean, his theology is kind of, when you start talking about, mother wheels and UFOs, I think that's just a little out there, but that's just my opinion. But I don't co-sign on the mother wheel just because, I say and co-sign on some of the good things that he said. And as a black man in America, we only 13% of this population. I'm trying to find unity. So if you believe in a UFO called the mother wheel, okay, I don't have to deal with that. I don't have to deal with the white man created in a laboratory. I don't have to deal with any of that. I can deal with what do we have in common as black people. And that political game is one they play on us all the time. They got the Candace Owenses of the world and all of these kind of, despicable, in my opinion, black people that the white power structure uses to further divide black people. We have to find areas where we can agree. I'm sure I can find one or two things that I agree with Candace on. I mean, I'm cool with finding agreement wherever I can find it, because we as black people, only 13% of the population. Let's get together.
And so, Fran, I know you hold it. Because see, Fran's gonna say something awesome. I can't wait. But see, Fran has a boss who has your philosophy. Her boss, Fran, I don't know if your boss has said this to you. You have to chew the meat and spit out the bones. Have you heard her say that?
No.
But we work together, so that's what she would say to me all the time when I would come in her office upset about a stupid policy. And she would say, you have to chew out, you got to take the meat off the bone. You chew the meat, spit out the bone. So Charles, you make a good point, and many people agree with you, is that you take the things that someone does that's good and righteous and that's informing the community, and you use that. But Zachary Kirk is an extremist, and I just cannot tolerate all hatred. Fran, take it away. I'm going to mute myself again. Savannah, Charles, if you have not joined the Turn Mississippi Blue movement, it's a Facebook group that my good friend from my hometown, Savannah, leads. Please join that. And
I love too.
Savannah, now, if you've watched the video, if you've watched that video, watch it again.
So let me start by saying we got to stop apologizing for foolishness. The excuses that we just gave are the same excuses people give when they defend Donald Trump. I don't agree with what he said, but he's done this good. So I get it, but it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to say I should not have done that and go from there. But we don't get a pass on racism, because we should always hold ourselves to being anti-racist and to doing the right thing. And you can slip up. I'm not saying that Nick Cannon should have everything canceled forever, but you need to understand that. I know you're a little tough. Understand that you can't talk anti-racism and all these things when you marginalize other people. Period.
Yeah, I mean,
my city girl voice. Period.
Let's look, and my sister, let's have that conversation. Let's correct Brother Nick Cannon where he is wrong. Let's correct Brother Farrakhan where he is wrong. I mean, let's correct one another, but let's not do it publicly. Let's not do it publicly, because when we do it publicly, it can be used against us to divide us. And if we are moving in the same direction, if we have the same agenda, then let's communicate these things in a less public way, so that our cause can be preserved, so that we are not, before you say that, white supremacy has done three things to black people. I call it the 3 Ds. They've been doing it since pre-1865. They deflect, they distract, and they distort. Those are the 3 Ds. They deflect.
Did you say that?
They deflect, they distract, and they distort, because their purpose is to divide. And if they can deflect, distract, and distort, they can definitely divide. And that's the agenda. Let's not fall into it. That's all I'm saying, my brother.
I agree with that. I agree with that 100. I agree with that 110%. I'm fully on board. But this is something that I just had a great conversation with a group of educators about. And this is kind of, and Keely and both Nehemiah, they agree. And I agree with what you just said. but we have responsibilities inside the community and outside the communities, right? Inside the community, we have to push each other in the right direction. We have to, for lack of a better word, be the moral authority and the police of ourselves. So and so while you're saying don't make it public, at the same time, we have to also be allies to those people that are allies to us. You have to get all of the people that join hands to make the Black Lives Matter movement take root in America. There is no doubt in my mind that in this racist country, Black Lives Matter would not be having the impact that it's having if white people were not involved in the movement.
Agreed.
We have had murders happened by police officers in this country where Black people have taken to the streets. I remember I marched for the Jena 6 in Louisiana.
Yeah, Jena 6.
And I saw those men go through years of the criminal justice system unfairly. And there was not one white ally in those rallies and in those marches with me.
Right.
They weren't there. But they were there this time, and we saw progress. When we allow Black people to get up and say hateful, ignorant comments and perpetuate these conspiracy theories, we are slapping our allies in the face. And I want you to think about if Nick Cannon and Griff would have been on Fox News and they were white people, or they were white people,
right now.
Black people, we would be up in arms demanding that Viacom fire them. So why are we allowing them as Black men to get away with it and demanding that Viacom rehire them?
No, I'm not asking Viacom to rehire them. What I'm saying is let's not completely end this man's career.
Right. Let's not cancel. Let's not cancel any of our brothers.
Okay, what he said was wrong. It was in the wrong platform. That is something he probably should have. They should have had that conversation off mic. Period. But what I'm saying is let's still allow the man to continue to have a career, and preferably on a Black-owned platform.
There are people who have done this there are white people who have done this and they were immediately removed, and we applauded that decision.
But they're not Black.
Platform to talk on. Why white people get to do that and then we can't?
They're not Black.
Us not giving ourselves a second chance, but white people get second, third, fourth, and fifth chances. We
100th chances.
We can't give them a second chance. You got to stop that cancel culture, because what it is doing to the Black people that you're canceling is saying that we can't get another chance.
Look, it hurts us more than it hurts them.
We don't have
because we don't have. How many Black platforms do we have? How much power do Black people have in America? What percentage of this population are we? We are not in a position to equally advocate what y'all are calling cancel culture. We are not in a position to equally advocate that. We don't have the power. We don't have the numbers. We are not of the percentage. We are a minority in this country, but we don't a lot of times act like a minority, which is extremely frustrating to me as a Black man in America. We do not act like a minority, because if we there are other ethnic groups that act like a minority. Mm-hmm. They stick together, they pool together, they ride together, they live together because they got each other's back. They act like a minority. I know Hispanics that act like a minority. Arabs that come over here and get the gas stations act like a minority. Black people in America, and part of it is our conditioning, because we are the only race that has been a slave race in America. So we were taught self-hate and self-division pre-1865. So here we are today, but we have to do the work to get out of that mentality, and we have to act like a minority, meaning when something happens to one of us, it happens to all of us. We as Black people have to close ranks, and we have to unite together and stand together, fight, bleed, and die together.
You better, and we gotta correct each other.
That's right. That's right.
Correct each other.
We have to. And so, and again, in Nehemiah, I get it. So I know you don't know me, but I've canceled Wendy's, I've canceled Starbucks, I've canceled H&M, and now I'm canceling Nick Cannon. With that being said, I really hope that someone will come together for us and also make a cancellation right here.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
Y'all, I have accidentally, like 6 times
Have
in
mercy.
a couple of days, I have been calling him Governor Pimp. But it just
Governor Pimp.
I'm like, Governor Pimp, I mean, Kemp. I keep in it, y'all. This man, I don't
Lord
know
have
what to
mercy.
say. I don't have words. Anybody else?
Piece of work.
Yeah.
Well, your governor is suing the city of Atlanta and our mayor
Boy, bye.
for the mask ordinance.
Boy, bye. Listen, boy, bye. Let me tell you something. There are plenty of other things in the state of Georgia that he should address on.
Yes.
Suing the mayor of Atlanta, he has got his nerve. When we are a state that is not in green, not in yellow, we are in dark red. And you had the time to sue the mayor of Atlanta. Boy, bye.
It's too much.
Right.
It's too much, man. It's too much.
He mishandled this pandemic, and he has made schools be the responsible for getting the economy back up. And so what he's trying to do is save face with his constituents.
That's right.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Governor Kemp, we voting you out. Bye.
All across the United States, this is what I believe is going to happen, guys. I believe that President Donald Trump is going to not win re-election. I think that he's going to make every last-ditch effort in America to claw his way to that ballot box. He is going to fight tooth and nail to stay in there, but he is going to lose. He will be unseated.
See, I don't know about that.
I think so. And we're going to talk about why you say that, but I do believe that in addition to that, I think that every single Republican leader like this man right here, who has co-signed their name. This was from a real commercial that he ran. This man ran this commercial about illegal immigrants and put them on a bus. And if you
nasty,
I'll blow your brains out. I believe that this man who is fighting for that Republican agenda of death all of them are going to suffer the consequences in November of 2020, November of 2021, and November of 2022. I want to know, Charles, why you're saying you don't think that he is going to be ousted after
I don't know.
3 million Americans with COVID-19, over 150,000 Americans to date dead from COVID-19, trying to push to open schools so we can bury more of our children. How can this man win re-election?
Well, if every American voted, he wouldn't win re-election.
That's
so voter turnout is probably the biggest reason why he might get reelected is the lack of voter turnout. Also, his base is very passionate. Love him or hate him, the Confederate flag waving, anti-maskers, anti-vaxxers, or whatever conspiracy theory they're spinning on the far right these days. Those people are very passionate, and they see an attack on Donald Trump as an attack on them all. So they're going to show up, even if they have to risk their lives to show up at the polls.
And we have to show up too.
No mask, we have to show up too. But will we show up? I mean, that's always been the question mark. And when you look at the states that elected him, because of course, he won, Ohio and Florida, which, those are purple states. But the states that put him in the White House, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, they put him in the White House. And the turnout of people who would traditionally vote Democrat in those particular states, the turnout was depressed.
You're right.
And it down from both Obama runs. They were down from both Obama runs in 2016. And so the base of the Democratic Party, I think, is pretty energized, anti-Trump energy, but, energized nonetheless.
We'll take
but
it.
But it's those independents, man. It's those middle of the road folks that supported Obama in Michigan and Pennsylvania and went for Trump this time. You know, you need a candidate to coalesce that voting block, and I don't think Joe Biden is that candidate. He ain't that candidate. And I think that's the biggest problem with the Democratic Party in this election. Biden is the guy, but he's really not the guy that you need, or the woman that you need. I think a Bernie Sanders would have been better in that place, and Elizabeth Warren. I mean, you got other people that would have brought more energy to the table than Biden is going to bring.
What do you think, Fran? I know you.
So I think a couple of things. I think that the narrative that Black people and people of color don't vote is not true. We have voter suppression. And if you are here in Georgia, you know what Kemp did at this last election. He purged people from the roster.
Yeah, he definitely did some shenanigans. Yeah.
He had some major shenanigans. But I also think we have to stop looking for a perfect candidate, right?
Yeah.
A perfect candidate does not exist.
We don't need a perfect candidate.
Not perfect. And I need people, when they vote, I need people to understand that you are voting for someone who is going to hold the office of president sacred. They're going to do what's best for most people, and that they're going to work hard to make America a place where people want to be. Donald Trump has done none of that. So I need people to understand that, and that voting, when you're voting, we're not voting for a perfect candidate. Nope. Your person didn't win, their person didn't win. You're voting for the person that is going to be able to represent you as a taxpayer in this country. And honestly, for me, I'm an educator. I knew well before Donald Trump got elected. Ooh. But when you put kids in cages and you're okay with it, and when you defend it, that to me, I'm going to vote the opposite, because I have empathy. And because I know that I have to answer to a God that's going to say, what did you do? So I just think, like, we got to stop with the perfect candidates. I'm not voting for them.
I mean, Biden is, no candidate's the perfect candidate, but Biden has serious problems. And one of the biggest problems he had, Biden has problems that the other Democratic candidates did not have, meaning his support for the 94 crime bill that locked a lot of Black people up. So there's a lot of distrust.
Y'all,
listen,
with Biden. 1994. Come on, y'all. Can people not? I mean, I'm not white, so I don't know, but I feel like we are not giving people redeemable qualities. We're not allowing them an opportunity to redeem some of the mistakes that they have made in the past. Y'all, for real, like but you
got to acknowledge that it's a mistake. You have to acknowledge that it's a mistake.
But he has. What more do
he has when he started running for president. When has he repudiated it before this election cycle? And those are the kind of things that we look at.
But I just don't think. Hey, y'all, honestly, I really do want to continue this conversation. I gotta go.
Oh, okay. Let me show everybody. Savannah said, is Charles going to vote for Trump? Let me show you who Charles is going to vote for. You guys ready to see? Charles is going to vote for
the birthday party. The birthday party. Why not, man? The birthday party. Not the Republican Party, not the Democratic Party, but the birthday party.
Let me tell you something.
I want to explain, Fran. You say you take it. Then I want to just. I've done this, Charles, in like 20 different podcasts and live streams where I explain the 1994 crime bill. I am going to explain it one more time for you. But Fran, take it away, and then I'm going to explain this crime bill.
Put that picture back up. Put that picture back up of Kanye.
Your homeboy Kanye.
The birthday party.
Listen,
I'm leaving.
The old Kanye is dead. Kanye is gone. My boy gone.
Gone.
Yeah, he did withdraw his nomination. He
gets a double boy bye.
Boy bye. And yes, we are.
Nehemiah, if you watched my last class, you would have seen that I canceled Kanye last week.
I'm not canceling any Black people. I'm sorry.
We're canceling Kanye because he has a history in it of
stupidity.
stupid stuff, and it continues.
But how much of that is mental issues? You have to. Well, slow down, because I have a background in social work. So when I see evidence of bipolar disorder or dissociative disorder, my heart warms to said person. It does. It does. I'm just being honest.
Heart warm up to a narcissist. I don't care if he is bipolar. When he's on his medicine, he's still a narcissist. I gotta go. I want to tell Franchesca Warren, I just sent you a donation, baby. I'm so excited. I'm not even Fulton County, so I can't vote for you. But what I can is advocate for you. And so I sent a donation. My cousin lives in Fairburn, so I'm gonna tell her. Brother Charles, please come back. Please come back.
I'll be glad to.
When you go tomorrow to the market, we got people at the market to vote for Fran too.
Oh, the people over at the market? I'm going.
That's her zone.
Okay, I'm going Saturday, and I will big you up. This has been an exciting show tonight. I hate that I have to get off the phone, but I really want to tell you too, man, I love this conversation. Y'all keep changing your communities, our communities.
Yes.
And Jack, I love you. I will hit y'all back in a few.
Be great, my sister.
Let me tell you what social issue Herman Cain has. It's called COVID-19. Herman Cain has COVID-19.
Oh, Doc, that's a low blow, Doc. That's a low blow. And then he got it at the Trump rally too. So that's added to it. He got it at the Trump rally.
He has COVID-19.
He does.
He got it at the Trump rally.
So what's wrong? Bye, Tracy.
All right, Tracy.
Listen, in the dictionary, when you look up that, you're going to see a picture of Herman Cain. But let me be clear. Herman Cain, people, it's a triple boy bye. I don't even have anything to say. You were at a rally without a mask in the middle of a pandemic. You get COVID-19. How irresponsible is that? If we ever wonder why kids act the fool, look no further than the adults.
But that's because they're not taking it seriously, because they're following the lead of their president, who never took it seriously. From day one, he didn't take it seriously. He was briefed on this at the end of 2019. He had time to implement something, or at least to reestablish what he dismantled that Bush 43 put in place and that Obama amplified. And then when Trump came in, he completely dismantled the pandemic response committee, or whatever it was called. He could have at least put that back together at the end of 2019 in preparation for what they were telling him was coming. And he did not do it because he didn't want to cancel his rallies, because he feels like he needs them to get reelected. He's prioritizing his election prospects above the American people. Just what he did in the Ukraine call. It's the same thing, prioritizing his reelection prospects above the welfare of the American people, meaning he is categorically unfit for the office.
But are we surprised? We knew we could have stopped this disease. We've had over 100,000 Americans pass. We didn't have to have a fraction of that. We should have followed the lead of China and Germany, who did an immediate shutdown for several months, but instead we played games. Now 100,000 plus people are dead. And now you still have a president who is saying that it's a fake, who will not wear a mask, even though he showed up to one at the hospital the other day. Like, it is so egregious to me. And then we as a society have said that it's up to schools to get parents back to work. What?
There's a lack of leadership.
There is a lack of leadership and a lack of common sense and empathy. I want to go back briefly because Demi posted in this great article that anybody can go back and read. Demi, I've read the article. I've been a big fighter against the anti-Biden because of the 1994 crime bill for a long time, and I'm going to do a brief explanation of it. But I want to say that another really good explanation that probably is a little bit more fair than how I feel or how Charles may feel comes in the book Stamped from the Beginning by Dr. Ibram Kendi. That is my book club pick for the month of August. I have heard from many of you. I majored in English, so reading a book is really quick for me. But for a lot of people, who are working full time, you have your kids and families at home, it's not as easy of a process. We were going to have the first virtual book club meeting happen on August 4th, the birthday of the one and only President Barack Hussein Obama. But we're going to push the actual meeting back to August 27th so people have time to read this book. On my iPad, the book was like 800 pages. I didn't know the book was 500 pages until Crystal one of my former students, Crystal Smith, contacted me and said, "Doc, dude, we can't read this in 2 weeks." And I was like, "Oh, I get you. It makes sense." So read that book. Demi, I want you to read that book. I want you to join us. Annette, read that book. DeAndre, read that book. But in the book, in the final section, the author talks about this crime bill. Charles, you had happening throughout the whole entire 80s, President Ronald Reagan building upon the Southern strategy of Barry Goldwater, building upon the racist rhetoric of Richard Nixon, perpetuating and spreading a whole entire myth around America about black on black crime, the black violence, gang violence, the war on drugs. All of those things came together. And all of those things were being used to poison the minds of American citizens against black people. It was a very strong effort that Ronald Reagan used to get reelected. And never forget, we're both from Mississippi.
Yeah.
I'm from a small town called DeKalb. My mother works in Neshoba County. Philadelphia is the city where you had the annual Neshoba County Fair where a number of lynchings and murders took place in that area of black men in particular. And to this day, black people don't go to that county fair. It's the largest in Mississippi out of fear or out of protest. And that's where Ronald Reagan launched his 1980 presidential bid. So the racism that is so deeply ingrained. So when that bill passed, people were under the false impressions that had been perpetuated by the media. And I'm talking about people that we revere now, push this agenda on people. Joe Biden and the Democratic Party pushed this bill to compromise. A lot of compromises had to be made with Republicans at that time and to keep the American people calm, both black and white. A number of black leaders supported this crime bill, including Jesse Jackson, including Kwasi Mfume.
Oh, of course they did. Yeah.
Right.
That was the political climate.
Mosley Braun. These people endorsed and supported this bill. So for us to now vilify Joe Biden without historical context is not fair.
Well, I vilify them all. I vilify them all, black leaders included. Everybody that supported this because they didn't have to compromise. They didn't have to compromise.
They didn't have to compromise, Charles, or they would have.
They could have taken a stand
of the House of Representatives. You had Newt Gingrich doing massive dirty work. You had a lot of people doing some horrible things to black people, and they were getting away with it because black people were not woke. They were not aware, and white people also were not ready to fight that fight because they believed crime was out of control, and they would take one instance and they would magnify it. This is what
these folks have been compromising on us since this country was founded.
And the data compromise,
and that's the problem. Nobody took a stand. Nobody took a stand.
We can undo history, but we can forge a better future. And that better future cannot exist if President Donald J. Trump is reelected. If this man wins,
I'm not disagreeing with that part of it.
You to commit to voting for him right here today.
I'm not disagreeing with that part of it, but what I am disagreeing about is I think that compromising where you shouldn't compromise demonstrates a lack of leadership, and I think that is problematic. It's always been the case in America. Even at the beginning of the country, John Adams was against slavery. Ben Franklin was an abolitionist. John Adams had his kids working his plantation. He refused He refused to own any slaves. He believed it was a great moral evil to own another human being, to work a man for nothing. I mean, so you had American patriots at the founding of the country that understood perfectly the evil of slavery, that were repudiated by it, was repugnant to them, but yet they compromised. They compromised on us. America has always compromised on us. In the Reagan years, they compromised on us. The America's first opioid crisis was the crack epidemic, but because the people's skin was black, it was not met with therapy. It was not met with empathy. It was not met with rehabilitation. It was met with incarceration, and what's that third one? Oh, incarceration. It was met with the three I's: incarceration, incarceration, incarceration.
You're right, Fran.
But this is the thing that if you don't like the Democratic nominee, how many people actually went out there and are a vocal part of their Democratic Party in their state? How many of them are applying to be on the floor at the convention to vote? Like, I need us to not be reactionary. There was a year leading up where we knew there were people. If we felt so strongly about him, how many of us that felt so strongly? How many of us were active in their local party? How many of us were active for the change? We'll wait until after voting happens to say, I didn't like him. But what did you do? I just want us not to be bystanders.
But that's a great point. And I personally, I've always been politically active. Even when I was back in 2007, when I was a card carrying membership fees paying Republican, I was active in my party. So I've always believed in being active politically, but I've dropped partisanship. Because I believe partisanship is detrimental to Black people, whether you are a Black conservative, a few of those out there, or whether you are a Black liberal. Regardless of your politics, we have to find a common unity around Black people, as Black people. And it's my belief that we as Black people, even whether you're on the conservative side, on the liberal side, we should all come in our collective Blackness to agree that President Donald J. Trump must go. I think we should all be able to.
You will not go if you don't vote for Joe Biden. So you can make that commitment tonight and say you're going to cast a vote for Vice President Biden to make our marriage.
Well, I look at it like this, Doc. I'm in Tennessee. It's going to be red anyway. So my vote
and Jackson and other with large minority populations, people just got to get out and vote.
Yeah, but even if all of the blue folks went out and voted, Tennessee would still be red. Georgia, on the other hand, where you are, Doc, there's a chance that Georgia becoming a purple state. In fact, Georgia's on that short list of red states turning purple.
And we are going to get Kelly Loeffler out of the Senate, where she can stop stealing money and doing horrible things with the stock market and lying to people, where she has these poor Black people on commercials crying. We are going to put an end to all of that. And unfortunately, this young lady's putting an end to the real.
Oh, yeah.
This is Tamara Mowry. Sister. We watched her grow up on Sister.
Yeah, we did.
And we really, she won a lot of fans. She has held down the real as its moderator, but she is leaving the show. Many people say because of the constant attacks against her husband, who was once a part of Fox News. Is he still a part of Fox News?
No.
I don't think he is. No.
Okay. But I know that she's been attacked, and for some things that he has said that some have considered to be racist.
What has he said?
I didn't Google it. I didn't look it up. I didn't look it up. But I mean, if you work on Fox News, Like that's it. You
Yeah, no, you can't say that, Doc.
If you
can't say that, Doc.
work on Fox News,
I've worked for Fox News. I'm not racist. I've worked for Fox. I'm not racist.
You work for Fox National News?
No, not the national news, a local affiliate here
you know
here in
I'm talking about Tucker Carlson or Colson, whatever.
Yeah, well, Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity, you know, those people are white nationalists. So we don't,
absolutely.
you know, but you can work for Fox News, but work kind of on the journalism side and not on the opinion side. Your Laura Ingrams of the world, your Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity. He worked on the journalism side.
Okay.
He was a reporter. So he wasn't in the opinion part. That's your Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Judge Janine, Greg Gutfeld, and all these folks, Jesse Waters, and formerly Bill O'Reilly. That's the opinion side. That's your white nationalist side.
I have never turned my television to that network. Never will. When I go into a restaurant and if they're playing on the
Doc, you hardcore, man. You hardcore, Doc.
Hardcore.
I'm going to walk out of this establishment. And I used to work in a suburb of Atlanta in education. And so when I was in central office, and if I had to run to grab lunch and they had Fox News, I would turn right around and put them on a list of will not eat here again. I don't play around.
Well, I have to take issue with the comment I'm seeing right there by Miss Deborah there. Fox News doesn't have journalism. It's all propaganda. I've worked there. I can tell you there are good journalists that are employed for Fox News. Shepard Smith used to be there. Shepard Smith was straight down the middle. Chris Wallace.
I remember him.
Chris Wallace is straight down the middle. I mean,
yes, he is.
Didn't they fire Shepard Smith because he was gay? They had to get rid of him.
I don't know exactly. I mean, from my understanding, he left. He wasn't fired. From my understanding, he just chose not to renew his contract. And a big part of that was the opinion side was not being held in check by the leadership. And see, it falls upon the management of a network to hold the opinion side accountable. They just basically became the propaganda wing of the Trump administration. I'm talking about your Sean Hannity's, your Tucker Carlson's, your Laura Ingrams. Trump good, no matter what he says or does. And so the leadership of the network has got to pull their reins in and not allow them to do whatever they want to say whatever they want to say. And they were not doing that. And so that's why, Shepard Smith said, well, I'm not going to renew my contract because you're letting those opinion folks run wild. And it's maligning the entire network. And I think
at some point, honestly, you really feel like Fox News at some point had real news to share with the world.
Fox News, look, there are journalists that work hard on every network. They work a lot harder on MSNBC. MSNBC have their opinion side too. And so that's your Rachel Maddows of the world. That's editorial.
Is that opinion or is that fact?
Nah, you might believe it's fact, but it actually is. It's almost like a newspaper. You were my newspaper editor. You have the editorial part, and then you have the hard news part. So the editorial page, I was very wild with my opinions on the editorial page, and you gave me a lot of latitude on that. I'm actually very thankful for that too. You're very open-minded.
See, Fran, and so people think that I'm very dogmatic, but I really wanted to show multiple perspectives of the black male continuum, and I wanted everyone knew how liberal and progressive and far left I was in college. But I wanted them to hear from Charles as well because he represents probably the majority of black men in America who are way more moderate, way more centric, and leaning very conservative, if not being conservative in their views. And so with that being said, Charles, I have to blame you for this as well. So you're not only being blamed.
Why is he blaming?
I don't know. He might be right. I might deserve some blame.
So number one, Charles, I'm blaming you for Donald Trump because I don't believe you voted for Hillary Clinton. Number one. Exactly. So you get the full blame for Donald Trump. You put Charles Johnson put every child in a cave. Brother Charles Johnson has infected over 3 million Americans with coronavirus. Brother Charles killed a 30-year-old man who thought it was a hoax. Brother Charles said, get that infected, disinfect, and die. But you also made this man get up on TV, on Fox News, and tell teachers to kiss his...
Yeah.
Oh
I have to push back on that because I'm in Tennessee, so my vote didn't put him in the Oval Office. Now, if I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton in Michigan, Wisconsin, or Pennsylvania, then I would feel guilty.
Okay.
Let me ask you this, Charles.
Yeah.
When he was going around in all his campaigning before the election, and he was saying crazy stuff and basically having Klan rallies, what made you vote for him?
I actually, let me give the backstory on that. Back then I was partisan, conservative, right? And so my mentality at that time was whoever the Republican nominee is, I'm gonna vote for him regardless because I'm a never Hillary. I was a never Hillary voter.
But why?
Well, it's a lot of reasons. I mean, I don't want to bog the conversation down there. I want to kind of focus on the Trump side of it. I kind of want to focus on the Trump side of it
because I need to refresh.
Yeah. And so I was definitely not with her. And so I opposed Trump during the Republican primary. Never wanted Trump to be president. Never wanted him to get the nomination. So I've never been I've never been per se a Trump supporter.
Okay.
I was actually a Ted Cruz supporter during the Republican primary. But when Trump got the nomination, I said, well, I got a choice to make. And Trump, of course, I found him very reprehensible, disgusting human being. Was unaware of the full extent of how awful of a human being he actually was at that time.
Okay.
Because I didn't find that out along with a lot of the rest of the nation until maybe a year into his presidency, and then when Charlottesville happened and all of these things took place, and the good people on both sides and the Confederate flag stuff and the Confederate statue stuff, and I'm of course very anti-Dixie. I mean, I hate Dixie. So I definitely felt regret about my Trump vote. I mean, that definitely won't happen again. But I feel not as bad because, like I said, I'm in Tennessee, so he was gonna get Tennessee anyway. Now, if I lived in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, or Michigan and voted for Trump, I would feel 100 times awful. I would take all the blame that the good doctor's dishing out on tonight. I would have to eat all of that crow.
I give it to you. I agree with you. You were in a swing state, so I won't give you as much of the blame. But we need you not to be a part of the continuation of this failed presidency in November.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I don't believe that
Joe Biden.
Yeah, I don't believe that any black people should vote for Donald Trump at all. I don't believe that any American that cares about America as far as the Constitution, our institutions, the way that President Trump has vilified the press, talking about they're an enemy of the people. I know Sister Deborah gonna give me a hard time, and I feel like I do deserve some of that. I don't feel like I deserve all of that, but I definitely deserve some of that.
Are we going to give some blame to your representative, John Kennedy? So John Kennedy, again, he said schools need to reopen. And if you don't want to reopen schools, you can kiss his butt. He said teachers in America can kiss his butt. Those who are concerned about their health, the health of their children, This is what this man said on Fox News. Fox News gave him a platform to say that about American educators. Is he any good in Tennessee? Like, why y'all got him up there?
Tennessee have all kind of crazy people in Nashville. You don't know the half of it. We have representatives in Nashville that have tried to make the Bible the quote unquote official book of the state of Tennessee. I mean, spending legislative time and political capital on making the Bible the official book of the state. It's just asinine, backwards type of thinking, just regressive in every way. So yeah, we have all kinds of creatures in the state of Tennessee. We got anti-maskers in Nashville that say all kind of
ordinance in Tennessee that requires you guys to wear the mask.
No, they're not going to.
No. I mean anti-maskers, like they standing up for their quote unquote right not to wear the mask.
But
they're against wearing masks.
They mandated it, like, you know, and like Governor Kay Ivey of Alabama has now mandated masks.
Yeah. They mandated it locally, not statewide, because we have too many anti-maskers in Nashville in order for that to get through. But locally here in Memphis, if you go out in public, you must have a mask. It's punishable by fines and even up to a misdemeanor conviction if convicted.
And then he is going to stay there so he can fight the good fight. He has to fight the good fight. Charles was going to eventually run for office in Tennessee as a Democrat or as a member of the new party that we create.
Yeah, I believe that I'll be a member of the new party that we create, because I've fallen out and burned all my bridges with the Republicans and the Democrats, or as I call them, the Democrats and the Republicrats, because in a lot of places, man, there's really no real distinction in a lot of places, and Tennessee is one of those places.
You know, and it's sad because politics is supposed to be for the good of the people, and what we've made politics is about the good of some people, and so because of that, it has soured people on not only voting but also on being part of it. So you're not. A lot of people feel that way. A lot of people feel that way.
Franchesca, you were on the news today. Everybody was watching.
All right.
Big time, the big deal, WSB TV, Atlanta News. Franchesca was a big deal. She was on at what, 4 o'clock?
4, 5, and 6, please.
4, 5, and
all right, all three.
Big news.
The trifecta.
I hope I can see it again at 11 o'clock. Franchesca, tell us what you talked about today and share with the people of our great state.
Just shame on Georgia for Georgia thinking that schools should be the ones to get society ready. I mean, get kids ready to go back to school. It is not up to
the economy reopened. Now you're putting all this pressure.
Right. We have people who believe that schools need to open so the economy can open. When reality, Georgians, we should have done a better job of quarantining, of wearing masks, or at the very least staying in the house. And so now we have a situation where we're in totally red and parents are stuck between a rock and a hard place and trying to figure out what they're going to do with their kids. And I attribute 99.9% of it to our bad behavior as Georgians. I went out in Atlanta just driving around because I got stir crazy, me and my family, and you wouldn't know there was a pandemic.
You're right.
You would not know there was a pandemic. You would not know that people are dying. You would not. People are out. People are visiting the city, and it's shameful because it's almost like people don't think it can happen to them, or if it does happen to them, you know, they'll be fine. So
business as usual. Business as usual.
Yeah, and so for me, it was, you know, shame on us as citizens, as people of this state, where we have given the responsibility to teachers to bring the economy back. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
So you know what though, Fran, I'm going to say this. I believe for every single person of color that I see out, shame on you. But I feel like a lot of, if you are a Trump supporter and you watch Fox News, you have been misled. I believe like that, the man in Texas who had a COVID-19 party and then COVID-19 and died, he believed with everything in his body that he would not die from COVID-19. He believed it was a hoax. So he
a Democrat hoax. A Democrat hoax. Yeah.
He believed that. And he believed that because President Trump and the Republican Party and Fox News made him believe it.
Absolutely.
Also, but guess what? We have science. You don't have to believe in what Trump, you can look at science and science tells you.
Yeah, but we have a lot of anti-science people in the Republican
that
Party.
President Trump has uplifted. President Trump has made the attack on science legitimate and real by calling climate change a hoax.
A hoax.
Calling COVID-19 a hoax.
Everything's a hoax.
That's right. He knows what to say for his base. Today, I saw in the news where the young man, a veteran, this man was 37 years old, a veteran of 2 wars of Iraq and Afghanistan. He said he would never wear a mask on social media. He had a video that went viral saying he would never wear a mask. This man caught COVID-19 and he died this morning. An alert popped on my phone.
Have mercy, Lord.
He was a famous protesting masked man in Ohio. And now he too, and I thought maybe I screenshot it today because I like, this is gonna, oh, here it is. I did screenshot it. This man, Ohio veteran, refused to wear a mask. Richard Rose III, you can Google him. Richard Rose III said, he said, I've made it this far by not buying into that damn hype and hoax about a mask. And he got.
That makes me sad, man.
That does. God gave us good sense, and we continue.
That makes me sad, man.
He made it. They said he made it 3 days in the hospital on the ventilator, and he's
have mercy,
right? And so now I'm not J-Mac. I'm mean.
I don't know, brother J-Mac about that one, brother J-Mac. This is the thing. I don't know. I guess that's just my empathy kicking in.
I don't think they know. Again, you have
to know. No. They know, but
the president of the United States should be someone the American people can trust.
But
they definitely can't trust him.
Right, but we have gotten so far. But listen, we have gotten so far where people think that everything is a hoax. This is why it's dangerous to spread conspiracy theories. This is why it's dangerous for people to think that they know better than doctors, than nurses, than people who've had it. I see people all the time who are like, oh, everybody's going to get it anyway. I might as well get it. But it's dangerous because we are showing our ignorance. And I always told people, I said, because somebody told me, we're going to start back right on time. I said, I want you to take a look at China. China had, after the first outbreak, China had every single precaution. Everybody in full hazmat suits. You get off the plane, you get your temperature checked, you get all these things, these steps. And they still had another outbreak. And they've had to close schools again.
That's true.
So what makes you think that us as Americans, because we're American, we're not going to get it? That ignorance is appalling. But it also goes back to is that in schools, because of the testing culture, we have gotten away from the real teaching of social studies, which is civics, and also of science.
You're right.
You have kids who leave 12th grade and they've had neither. So any conspiracy theory on Facebook, on Twitter, on TikTok, talking about what was Wayfair, girls are being trafficked on Wayfair. These things come.
Pizzagate. The guy showed up with a shotgun at the pizza parlor talking about where are all the kids?
Yeah.
Like,
shame on us as American people for us not equipping children and not calling foul. And what happened at the last election is that many of these news outlets, all of them really, the first year and a half of Trump's campaign, they allowed him to spread these birther. They gave him the leeway. And then when he was full rails off the track, then it was like, bring him back. Like, he's not telling the truth.
I'll be the first to tell you that the media created this monster named Donald J. Trump. Because when he first started the campaign, when he first came down the escalator, Jeb Bush had a $200 million war chest, and he was the best equipped Republican to run in the presidential primary. What ended up happening? Every time Trump was losing steam, he just tweet something crazy, something crazy, call somebody a name, Little Marco, Lion Ted, and the media gave him countless dollars in free advertising. The media created this monster, which is very ironic because Trump is so against the media. It's very ironic because the media hates Trump, but with the exception of Fox News. But at the same time, they created him. They indulged him. They created this Frankenstein monster, and they can't get him back in the laboratory.
But you know what it is? It's now that they are calling him out. It's too late.
Yeah. I mean, they should have been doing this when he was running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of things kind of come out of the laboratory. Sometimes you rub the lamp and the genie comes out. Sometimes the genie may look like this.
You're great at segueing into these things.
Yeah, this is Will Smith as the genie in Aladdin, and this was a very popular meme that went out. This is what happened when Jada rubbed the wrong lamp. When Jada rubbed the wrong lamp.
You know you wrong. You are wrong for this.
Dr. Kirk.
Today, we had the revelation at the red table that, August Alsina and Jada Pinkett Smith were involved in, for lack of a better word, as she described it, an entanglement.
An entanglement.
And I want to know from two married, people on this live cast. Charles, you've been married for how many years?
14 years.
Fran, you've been married for how many years?
14.
I want you both.
Oh, the same time. Okay.
Yeah.
Two advocates and activists from the South. I want to know your thoughts on the entanglement with August.
It's none of our business. I'm
Bring it back.
Our business. Why? This is a marriage. This is why we get distracted.
Yeah.
Because this is why we get this. It's a distraction because this is their marriage. It is their covenant with God. Why are we in that marriage? We don't have to go home with them. But these are the things that happen.
Neither did August, but he sure went home with them.
You know what? Here's my thing. When you are married, I am a big proponent of being married. I feel like it has helped me immensely in just my development as a person. However, I have come to realize that we run our house how we run our house, and we let other people run their house how they run their house.
There you go.
I don't have time to figure out why Jada. And I'm gonna also tell you that I am pretty sure that there was more to this story than Jada just went out with August Alsina. I'm pretty sure Will Smith, it has been well documented, he has had female friends. So I say all of that to say we need to mind our business. We need to literally mind our business and focus on getting our state or our country out of the red on the pandemic and going to green.
Yeah. And, they are, I like what Brother J Mac just said. They are putting their business out there. And from my understanding, it was an open marriage. So when you have an open marriage, you're supposed to be able to be with other people. But I think it was the fact that it was supposed to stay out of the public. And I think that Jada taking it public is where the betrayal factor came in, because it makes Will look bad. And definitely
public.
August took it public. So it's where, you can't keep your side pieces in line. You're supposed to not kiss and tell. But like Franchesca was saying, that's their arrangement. That's their business. I mean, I don't really care a whole lot about it. I mean, it's not my marriage. I wouldn't be in an open marriage, nor would I advocate as a Christian minister. I would not advocate for an open marriage, of course, not at all. That's what the Bible calls adultery. The world calls it entanglements, but the Bible calls it adultery. But I'm not here to moralize.
Yeah.
I'm just here to simply say that it's their business. I don't care a whole lot about it, but they made it public. They even took it to Jada's red table. They made it a red table discussion, and Will had that expression on his face that has been replicated in probably hundreds of memes throughout cyberspace, because you are in a mean culture. So it's like the crying Jordan face, you know, and it's all over the place, right? So, you know, it's their business. I don't know if they're gonna get it together, or even if they feel like it's in their best interest to get it together. You know, they bump fists and say, we're gonna tough it out, we're gonna make it through, because that's what marriages are made of. But then at one point, Will said that he regretted divorcing his first wife because he looked at that as a failure, and he doesn't like failure in his life. So he regretted, in that sense, divorcing his first wife. So look, that's all of that's baggage, which I don't approve of any of that. I'm one wife for life. I believe in forsaking all others till death do us part. That's what the Bible teaches. That's what I teach. But, you know, grown folks do what they want to do. You know, that's the other side of my sermon.
So I want you guys to think, Fran and Charles, we're getting ready to wrap. So Fran, I want you to think of some good news that we haven't shared on the live cast. That'll be every week on the 3+1 live cast. We do the up and the down, the clown, and the products we love. So I want you guys to think about some products you may want to shout out.
Okay.
I want Fran specifically, I want you to handle the up. Some good news out there that we may not know about. Charles, think of some bad news out there that we may not know about. And I'll come up with this week's clown of the week. And then we'll talk about our product. But while you guys are thinking, Fran, you took my thunder away. Like, I agree with you about everything you said. I didn't want you to say that. But what I really shared this for was two reasons. Is that, one, I have a conspiracy theory. Personally,
wait, I thought we weren't doing, because we need to cancel conspiracy theories. That's what we need to cancel.
I have an ideation. Is that a better term? I actually don't know to what extent I really believe the entanglement may have even happened. I started doing some reading as things were coming up, and it was revealed that Jada Pinkett Smith was the person who advocated for August Alsina to leave his record label in the first place. And then he releases his first independent project at the exact same time that he announced the entanglement. That's very suspect to me. In addition to that, there's a lot of places that Will and Jada could have taken this and capitalized on it, but they took it to the red table. And now the red tables had more viewers than ever in history. And now people are going back and continuing to look at old episodes. So that is a little bit suspect to me. And so, you know, I agree. I really don't care. And I think that's within their marriage, their covenant, how they choose to flex that. But I also am very suspicious of the timing of this revelation with August Alsina's first independent album, as he is no longer being represented by a record label.
But you know what? I don't believe in this conspiracy theories most times, right? But I do believe that everybody has their moments of stupidity. And
that's true.
Everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And so you get into these situations. Jada is a lot older than him, and that's not even the problem. I think that whatever happened, the entanglement, whatever it was, I think they regretted it, and August went live with it to embarrass her, and she had to save face. Yeah. I think people have been there before, and I just think that I don't think there's a conspiracy theory. I think that, yeah. I don't know.
So what's the up, Sister Franchesca? What's the up? I need some good news, man. I need some good news, sister. Come on, lift up my spirit.
Can it be for me?
It can be for you.
Even if it's for you.
I got interviewed by the Teaching Tolerance magazine. My article is coming out
awesome
in the next 2-3 weeks. So, whoa, that's what the kids do. The whoa. I think that's what I have. Anybody else?
That's awesome.
Yeah, let's all share some good news.
Yeah, y'all
share some good news.
Yeah, well, I work for nonprofit organizations here in Memphis, and I'm also an adult education educator. So I work with the adult side, help the dropouts get what we call the high set diploma, formerly the GED, but now the high set diploma. So our grants and everything got renewed, so we were able to continue the work. Also, I work with incarcerated populations. Here, I work in the largest jail incarceration facility in the state of Tennessee. and help out with the adult education there. So teaching my class is going well. We transitioned to virtual, which I hope that a lot of other non-adult educators will be doing throughout the country. Is going virtual, just for safety's sake until they get a read on this pandemic, which definitely segues me into the down, which is Texas reporting 10,000 new cases of COVID in the last 3 days. 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. I mean, not 10,000 over 3 days, but 10,000 each day. Look, this thing is headed for catastrophe, disaster, drastic action has got to be taken. Oh, I forgot, Brother J. Mac came with Mary Trump's new book, which the president tried to block, tried to get it blocked from getting released. But the ruling that came through the judge sided with her. So her book is coming out, going to shed a lot of light on this narcissist / gaslighter.
Hey, Mac, Deborah, you guys get your pocketbooks out and donate to the campaign of Franchesca Lane Warren. In the very beginning, I talked about Franchesca is running for school board. She won the election with the most votes in June, but she's in a runoff on August the 11th.
Yes.
Right.
Franchesca had a campaign that was grassroots. It was not funded by any kind of big money. It's all from an educator wanting to make a difference in a school system. And so what Franchesca did was planned out to be prepared for a May 13th election that then got pushed to June the 9th. That now is in August the 11th runoff. And, the money is needed for the phone calls, for the flyers, for the things that we stick in the ground.
Yeah.
More people out there at the precinct. So you need support.
Right.
So $5 can go a long way, but you really should donate $25. Deborah, dig in that pocket. She's a woman of AKA just like you. Y'all get that, and
all right now.
Franchesca is the literacy coordinator for the Atlanta Public School System, as you are literacy coordinator where you work. So I would say, guys, that some good news is, again, the good news is that Franchesca is going to win this election.
All right.
Good news. All right. I also want to say I've seen a lot of really good news from young people in America. There was a wonderful young lady on the ABC program that comes on every day at 11 o'clock about the pandemic, like a pandemic update. It was a young Black girl who is fundraising books. She's had people donate books to her to give out to children in her neighborhood, so in her community, so that they can read over the summer. And so today on that program, they donated 1,000 books to her. And so as you look out there, a lot of young people are being motivated to do things for their community, and they have time to do those types of things. The lesson in this for us, and those of us, all of us being in education, really, that we can, when school starts back, we can put an emphasis and a focus on the type of community work that can really help a whole community grow and evolve. If we don't have state testing hanging over our heads, our work is to truly be elevated and then go to the next level.
Absolutely.
Some bad news or down news, again, COVID-19 is ravishing. I have to say, the clown of the week. It's been a lot of clowns this week, people. Donald Trump did some clown stuff on a press conference. Brian Kemp did some clown stuff and trying to sue Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms. But the clown of the week goes to Ivanka Trump and her daddy and them Goya beans.
Oh, the Goya beans. Oh, my goodness.
Now,
that was so shameless. That was so shameless.
That's right. Your whole administration campaigned on a message of hate towards immigrants and people of the Latinx community. And then you have the audacity to go on national television and say, eat these beans. Eat these beans. And you think that community that you have taken their children and locked them in cages and separated families from those kids will now buy your beans? You are a bean moron.
It's unfortunate. We have to do better. We have to.
Friend, have you ever eaten Goya meat and food seasoning beans? Have you ever had that stuff?
I've had Goya before. Yeah, I have.
I've had Goya too.
Never.
I think that it was some short-sightedness on behalf of the CEO. Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was good. I mean, it's, it wasn't spectacular. I mean, it wasn't anything to write home about. But I'm saying it was short-sightedness on the part of the CEO, because he made the point, well, when Obama called, and then I work with Obama, so whenever the president calls, like, no, this ain't your average president. This ain't, when you talking about President 46 minus one, this ain't your average. You can't put him on the same level as any other president have ever been in office. So I think it was short-sighted on his part.
This clown believed that no matter what he did, that the Latinx and Hispanic community was going to back him. He believed that they were so married to his seasoning and his products.
Yeah, because they do a lot of Goya.
Yeah,
that's right, and they're very loyal to that brand. But I think he's going to learn the hard way that that's not the case. In the same way that Wendy's, KFC, and pizza are on the verge of filing bankruptcy. These boycotts matter. These boycotts have an impact. And when you make a public mistake like that and people back away from that product, it does have an impact. I don't eat. I have seen that Adobe. What's it called?
Adobo.
I've seen that seasoning in JJ Fish. Okay, Frank. Now I've gone to JJ Fish and they sprinkle it. They already put salt to high heaven on the chicken. They salt that chicken down. It's a chain here in Atlanta called JJ Fish, Brother Charles.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And they don't only overload it with seasoning salt, they then sprinkle some of that adobo on there. I'm not even gonna eat JJ Fish anymore. So I'm not only gonna boycott Goya, I'm boycotting JJ Fish.
You got a lot of boycotts going, Doc.
There's not gonna be anything else to boycott, sir. I think, you know what? Somebody gave me another brand that is made by Hispanic, our Hispanic brothers and sisters, that is very, what do you call it? It's very homegrown. I'm gonna tell you the name of it.
I hope it's very good.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is. It is called. Do I not have it? It's out of New York. Hold on.
I mean, it would be good to provide that, to give our Hispanic brothers and sisters an alternative to Goya.
Hold on. I'm trying to find her.
I can also give you the Deborah Kirk alternative to Goya, because we grew up and we didn't have a lot of money for extra seasoning. So it was a treat for her to buy seasonal, but it was rare for her to buy seasonal. We had what was called salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper.
Only salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper.
That's how we could afford with salt and pepper.
That's right.
I can't find the. Hold on, I'm gonna tell you the exact name of it. I'm gonna give you the spelling.
That's a good point.
So this is what our brothers and sisters in New York City use.
Writing it down.
They love it. Okay, it is by. Oh gosh, it is called the freaking Rican New York City.com.
The freaking Rican.
Yes.
So do I spell freaking with an E or an I? Is it freaking?
E-H-E, freaking, F-R-E-A-K-I-N, Rican, R-I-C-A-N. They have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Freaking Rican.
Rican, and it's sofrito, adobo. They have it all, and it's good. And this is what I don't know if y'all can see my screen, but it's good. So my friend that's Puerto Rican said,
I'm checking it out.
Yeah, so I ordered some from Amazon. And you can order.
How much was it on Amazon?
I don't know. It wasn't much though. It wasn't much.
Okay.
$2, like no more than $10.
So but if you are financially taxed at this moment, you don't buy freaking Rican, you donate to Fran. But if you get a you donate to Fran and you get your freaking Rican seasoning. Fran, I'm gonna try the freaking Rican, you try the freaking Rican, and we're gonna tag them and let them know how it was, if it was good. Now we'll let our viewers know as well.
Yes.
Freaking Rican.
My husband is Puerto Rican and he swears by it. So I always take his
word for it. We're going to see.
Right. We can cancel Goya. That's fine. We can get some homegrown stuff.
It's a wrap.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing this freaking Rican season. It's $6. It's great, great price. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah,
more than salt and pepper and salt. So I don't know, but I'm gonna give it a chance. I will give it a chance. So, guys, thank you for joining us. Brother Charles, Sister
My pleasure,
Franchesca,
Doc.
thank you for what I think was a really great live class. It was a lot of great discussion. We hit a lot of great topics. Thanks to all of you guys for joining us on live. Join me again on Monday when I will be with the 5 guys on live, and then always every Thursday right here with 3+1 with new guests, new topics, and new talk.
Right.
See y'all soon.
Bye, guys.
See you, Doc. Love you, Doc.
Love you, my brother. Fran, we gonna win this.
We gonna
All right,
win.
Fran. Go, Fran.
We gonna win. Go. Thank you, guys.